Hello, hi everyone. Good morning and welcome to our Caribbean Climate Tracker community hangout for June 2024. I'm really happy to be here with you all and to be in this session where we're going to chat a little bit about climate technology and what that means for the Caribbean and climate justice space. All right, I know some of these spaces I'm already very familiar with. Some of you are new to me, so I thought I would just start off by giving a quick introduction to Climate Tracker, what it is that we do, and how you can get in touch with us. All right, so Climate Tracker, we are a global network of climate communicators, journalists, media personnel that focus on reporting on climate change. And in the Caribbean, for us, it's very important to focus on climate justice. So that is what we do. We actually create opportunities for media to get training on these different topics as it relates to climate change and climate justice. And we also create opportunities for media to publish on these stories and network and form greater alliances as it relates to telling the Caribbean climate story. So that is what we do. And in that vein, right now, we have a climate justice program that we are running. And we're working with 10 journalists across the different countries in the Caribbean, and they have been publishing some amazing stories. So if you go to our website at climatetrackercaribbean.org, you'll see all of the stories, and I'm going to share those links with you in the chat in a little while so that you can follow along and check us out. All right, so that is what we do. So thank you to those new people who are probably just joining, this event for the first time. And we have these events every month as our way of also including the wider public beyond our target audience in understanding different issues as it relates to climate justice and climate change. All right, so that is what we do. My name is Billy, and I am right now the lead for the Caribbean team. And I think I have some of my team members on the call with me who might introduce themselves in the chat as well. So we're really, really happy to have you here with us. And today we will be chatting with or learning from Isiah Cruz. And I'm going to tell you a little bit about Isiah. So I actually got the chance to meet Isiah at the recent climate justice camp that was hosted for the first time. The climate justice camp came to the Caribbean in March, and that is where we met. And I was really inspired by his story and what he's involved in. So that's why I'm really excited for you guys to hear from Isiah today. So Isiah is a dedicated climate action leader and entrepreneur based in Puerto Rico. He is the Chief Executive Officer and founder of Ama Earth Group, where he leads tech-enabled ecosystem regeneration and resilience projects globally. Under his leadership, Ama Earth Group has successfully completed 7 regeneration projects, offsetting 12,279 pounds of carbon emissions annually. As a co-founder and community leader of Litter Token, Isiah has spearheaded efforts to incentivize litter cleanup through blockchain technology, resulting in the collection of over 90,000 pieces of litter across 12 countries. Previously, Isiah served as the Director of Data Science and Artificial Intelligence at Decode M. I'm going to say that's how to say it, but you can correct me afterwards, Isiah, managing predictive data science projects and a team of 3. He also worked as the operations manager at Newton X, delivering market research projects for global corporations. Isiah holds a bachelor's degree in political science from Yale University and is fluent in English, Spanish, and Portuguese. So Isiah, I'm going to go straight over to you. We're all very excited to hear from you today.
Wonderful. Thank you, Dizanne. Thank you to everyone who's on the call. I hope to try to make this as productive as possible for people. Hopefully everyone can come away with at least one thing that they've learned about technology that they can implement into everyone's respective kind of work in the climate space. So thank you guys, and thank Climate Tracker. I just want to say, Climate Tracker is incredible. Dizanne and team, you guys are a force of nature. You guys are so organized. You guys are doing such important work for climate change and in the Caribbean. So thank you for just giving me and Ama Earth Group this platform. And yeah, so yeah, wanted to start with some gratitude. So I also wanted to start, I'm going to share my screen with maybe we could take a minute to just kind of call in and honor our ancestors. It could be, the ancestors, our family members. It could be the ancestors, the indigenous people who uh, were home. The land that we're currently calling home was their land. So yeah, just want to give a minute maybe to just kind of call them in, give them offerings, and just and just ask them to guide us and make this an informative session. All right, so hopefully people called your ancestors in, called the indigenous ancestors in as well. I start spiritually because this is a fundamentally spiritual endeavor to me. I know we're talking about technology, but I'm an Earth group, and the work that I'm doing has been guided by ancestors and spirit, and it just, yeah, that's the fundamental aspect of all of this for me. And I believe for the movement in general. I mean, you think of climate change and you think of the state of the environment right now, and we're up against such a big mountain. It's like we need to tap into the spiritual nature of it if we're truly to be successful. Um, so yeah, so that's kind of how I wanted to start. And I wanted to say we're going to talk today. I also do think that technology is a tool that can be used for not great things, but it's also a tool that can be used for incredible things. Ultimately, technology comes from precious metals that were put here by God and by the universe. So there's no reason that we can't use these as like a force for good, which I think we've seen some of that, but we haven't seen that really used that much. But I think now is the time. So yeah, so I think with that we can get into it. So I'm going to talk for maybe 10 to 15 minutes. We're going to do a survey, and then we'll finish off with questions. Really want it to be interactive and really want to be able to help people on their journeys and how you guys incorporate tech in your projects. So, Dizan mentioned kind of my bio. I know how to code. So I code Python, and I like know how to make AI, artificial intelligence models and machine learning models. So, I've done that in like a corporate setting. I also have done like large market research projects. So I'm pretty well versed in the tech space. And over the past few years, I've been diving more and more into connecting with my ancestors, connecting with nature, and just learning more about the technical aspects of nature. So currently, I'm the CEO and founder of I'm Earth Group. I'm Earth Group is like Spotify for climate change. So people pay $5 a month, and we use that money to conduct ecosystem restoration projects across the world. So we planted a bunch of hundreds of mangroves in Puerto Rico. We're doing river restoration in New Jersey in the United States. We did river restoration in Nigeria, all types of things. But basically, we're like earth doctors, and it's completely community funded. So we'll talk a little bit more about this later. So first, I wanted to start with a survey. So if everyone could join, if you guys could go to this website, menti.com. When you go there, it's going to ask you for a code, and you just put in this code, and then we'll take the survey together. So you can scan this QR code, or you can just go to the website. And as you guys enter, we'll get the survey started. And this is going to be just getting people's understandings of tech. What are kind of people's barriers right now, and it'll help inform the talk. Feel free to come off mute if you're having trouble with this. Okay, I see some responses coming in. We'll give it like 30 seconds, minute. Nice. We got media and journalism people, entrepreneurship, environmental education, renewable energy. Okay. If anyone has issues with it, okay, we're in the chat. Entrepreneurship, nice. I think we have 16 people in the chat. I think we have like 8 responses right now. So, okay, as a reminder, so you go to menti.com and just put in this code. It can be on your phone, it can be on your laptop. Yes. Anyone having trouble with it? Maybe people are driving or something. Okay. Okay, we can move on. But yeah, let feel free to write in the chat or just come off mute if you're having issues. Cool. All right, so mostly people in media and journalism and entrepreneurship. So interesting. Okay. Okay. All right, we'll move to the next slide. What are the ways in which you currently use technology in your projects? A lot of Canva. Oh, wow. Google Drive. Yeah, that makes sense. Slack. Project management. That's interesting. Okay. I think we had 10 voters last time, so we're there. Cool. All right. So you guys are mostly using it for design tools, which I use all the time too. All right. And then Google storage. Okay. Seems pretty straightforward, but people aren't really using ChatGPT much. That's really interesting. I don't know if people saw that. And then like CRMs is tough. I mean, CRMs is more like for sales and stuff. Okay. Cool. We'll move on to the last question. What are the biggest obstacles for you when it comes to technological implementation in your current projects, in your environmental work that you're doing? Feel free to take your time for that. I know Security concerns. Wow. Interesting. Really interesting. Lack of expertise. That makes sense. Okay, we have 10 people that voted. All right. So it seems like the top ones are high cost. Okay. Okay, we got to change. Lack of expertise. Does anyone want to, can someone come off mute? I'm curious, anyone who put lack of expertise or like these top three, if you could come off mute and say a little bit more. I'm curious. No judgment.
Hi, I'm Vasha. I'm from Trinidad. I can talk a bit about a lack of expertise because not everyone is tech savvy, and especially when you have let me be politically correct, when you have seasoned employees or seasoned colleagues who are not very tech savvy, they become somewhat, reluctant to want to use software or anything that can enhance, their work skills, which of course is in the tech side.
Okay. Thank you. Yeah, that makes sense. It's interesting. It's like not only do you have to implement the tech, but you also have to get the people to adopt it.
That's right,
Okay.
because I can give some current recent examples. We have a team of, let's say, some seasoned folks, and we decided, okay, you know what? It takes a really long time to complete these inspections on the computer. So we gave them these smartphones, and the apps were placed onto the smartphones, and they're just reluctant.
Yeah.
We thought, okay, it would help expedite the process, but apparently it didn't work.
It's tricky because there's such like a generational gap in terms of technical knowledge. Like if you're, yeah, some people it's just hard to use computers, hard to use tech. But if you're,
But
if you're
but
younger,
the funny thing is, I see them spending lots of time on Facebook and
yeah,
TikTok.
so
So,
true.
there's really no divide with it.
It's true. It's true. It's true. Yeah, Facebook and TikTok, they make it easy for them because they just you just scroll, but like that's a great point because it's like Facebook and TikTok and stuff, they made it so easy for people to use. Like even like babies could use it. Okay, so Gabrielle, I see you have your hand raised.
Hi, yes, good morning. So, I would like to offer a different perspective with regards to the lack of expertise. So, from my perspective, our whole foundation, we work in education, and we have a legal policy program that focuses on the intersection of technology, policy, and climate. And one of the main reasons in this sector that there's a lack of expertise is that many people would be very shocked to learn that legal technology subjects are not taught in any, not one, any of the Caribbean universities that have the Bachelor of Laws, right? So essentially, we have from a legal policy and education and legal technical perspective, over the past, I'd say almost 20 years or more, we've released, legal professionals and policy leaders into the sphere that have no knowledge, no formal knowledge, at least, of tech, the issues, the challenges, and particularly with how the climate crisis and technology is inextricably linked. So, from that perspective, I can say for sure that that is why we're having such uh, pushback and also having such just slow progress with regards to us catching up in the region, right? And that's some of the work that we've been remedying with our law program. It's so interesting, right? Because I saw your work, I came across your work on social media. We actually wanted to reach out to you. It's a funny how life works, right? Because you're also working at the intersection of climate and tech. So when I saw the seminar, I said, yay, definitely coming through. Shout out to the design and Climate Tracker for having you, because these are conversations that we need to have more. And Yeah, and you're doing great work, by the way. And this is one of the reasons why I would say that there's a lack of expertise in the legal sector, because coming from the root, right, of education, there's no formal specialization or this area being taught.
Yeah, that's really interesting. Yeah, thanks for sharing that. Yeah, it's like, how do you expect it to be incorporated into people's day to day if it's, from like from the education point, from the training point, it's not implemented or emphasized. That reminds me of like healthcare. I feel like healthcare is one of those industries that's like notoriously non-techy, and there's a lot of inefficiencies in it because of it. Yeah, great point. Thanks for bringing that up. And we'll talk more about this as well. Anyone else? It's okay if not. We can move on.
I was just gonna add, hi, this is Daniela, about high costs, because it makes me think about all of these platforms and how most of them are subscription based, so it adds a lot of cost to your the operational side of running a business and being an entrepreneur. So it's definitely always in the back of everyone's mind, I would believe, especially for people who work in the NGO sector as well. So I think it's something to really think about, and it makes people have to be creative sometimes and do manual processes that just take up time too. So it encompasses a lot, you know.
Definitely. Yeah. And these like a lot of these business plans are pretty expensive. Like they'll charge you $50 per person, $100 per person a month. But yeah, you're totally right. Like it's like finding solutions around it that are less costly, or just really prioritizing and knowing exactly what technology to use and exactly which one is worth paying for. Okay, so interesting. Okay, so we'll go back to the presentation now. So we're gonna address some of the things we talked about. So yeah, so the way I think of it is there's kind of two types of technology in the climate space. There's tooling, which is a lot of what we just talked about. So these are tools that help you be more efficient or more effective in your work. And these you guys named a bunch of things, and we can go, these are really important. And it's like we don't even do this that much or that well. I'd say the next kind of level is like making technology a fundamental part of your work in the climate space. And I think that's something that we're starting to see more and more of. So I'll talk through some of these just to kind of show you guys the ways that people are fundamentally incorporating this. And then at the end, we could open it up to more questions. Something that came to mind for me was like if someone wants to talk about a specific tech obstacle they've run into in their workplace, and maybe we can try to solve it in real time, and maybe that's helpful to other people. And also at the end, I'll give like a Calendly link. So we're going to be offering like free 30-minute tech consultations. So we could meet and we could talk about all the ways in which you guys are implementing tech, or maybe you could implement tech, and we'll help out for free. Because yeah, it's just so needed. And if you think about it, the people who are destroying the planet are using technology like as a fundamental part of their work. So in order for us to combat that and restore it, we need to be using it as a fundamental part. This is my belief. We need to be using it. It's such a powerful tool that's just not really being used in the space. So hopefully we can be part of changing that. So I really think about it as the four kind of emerging verticals in the tech space. Okay, Varsha, thanks for joining. So there's community, there's AI and data, there's blockchain, and then there's AR, VR, which is like augmented reality, virtual reality. So community, these are people who are creating technology that allows people to have community. So I don't know if you guys know, Patreon is a good example of technology for community. And in the climate space, you have my company, I'm an Earth Group. So we do like subscription, and you join this community and we fund these different projects. And that is done through technology. You have Ren. So they're interesting. They're like, they're also subscription. You basically pay monthly to offset your carbon footprint. So you can calculate your monthly carbon footprint and then offset it with like donations to them. And then they support projects all across the world. They do like rainforest protection in the Amazon, storing carbon in basalt rocks, etc. You have Soil Centric, which I know them well. They do like they have like a map where you can see a bunch of like regenerative farming projects across the world. So you can go to this map and you can see yeah, you can like basically go anywhere and you can see the projects that are going on. As you can see, they don't have much in the Caribbean. But here there's like an eco lodging place in Costa Rica, etc. So yeah, this is like tech enabled, allows people to visualize things easier. One Tree Planted is like another subscription, and they use this to like plant trees across the world. They work with individuals and businesses. So that's community stuff. And then there's AI and data stuff. So this is a really interesting product. They're called AI for Trees. So what they do is we'll talk more about it actually later, but they tie these dendrometers, they're called, around the trees, and it can measure the tree growth based on certain conditions. So not only does it measure the environment, but it can also measure how quickly or how little the tree is growing. So they're able to use lasers and these dendrometers to kind of visualize entire forests and figure out what interventions they can make to improve the forest health. So that's an AI product. You have Manglad AI, which is a World Wildlife Fund project, and they're using AI to predict mangrove health, and yeah, just a whole bunch of things around how to take care of mangrove forest. So then you have Project Drawdown. They're like a data analysis project. So they give you an idea of the current state of climate change based on like big data. So they'll tell you like, I forgot what it was. They'll tell you like the current blue carbon out there, all types of stuff. They have really good reports and data. Then we have Nature Conservancy. So they're doing like geospatial. They're using satellites to map things and to figure out where there's less forest cover, etc. Then you have Litter Token, which we're going to talk about more. That's another one of my projects. We're using blockchain to pay people to pick up litter. Coconut Network is cool. They're like a coconut farm in Dominican Republic, and they're a blockchain-based cooperative. So they're paying people all on the blockchain, people who you could like buy a share in their farm through cryptocurrency. They're doing really cool stuff. And it's all around like regenerative agriculture and coconuts in DR. Gitcoin, I would love to tell you guys more about this. This is Gitcoin funds, like every quarter they fund these like climate solutions rounds. So you join these rounds and they pay you. They pay like, you could win anywhere from hundreds to thousands every 3 to 4 months. You don't have to be in the Web3 or blockchain world. You can just be a climate project. I'm happy to help people onboard onto this space. But look, you can see these people last round one, got over $7,000. And basically, the more votes your project gets based on your impact and based on how cool your project is, the more funding you get. So they'll have like a big matching pool, 125,000, and the projects with most votes will get a bigger share of that matching pool. Really cool. Like I said, happy to help people onboard. But this is a cool example of a blockchain crypto organization that is raising money from wealthy individuals, from foundations, etc., and then spreading that across like the commons based on the projects that are kind of receiving the most votes in the climate community. So really cool. Eco Sapiens is like you buy like an NFT, so you buy art, and that NFT represents like your person in the digital space. And this person in the digital space, you can like customize and level up based on some of the carbon offsets that you perform in the real world. And they can like track all of this on the blockchain. So another cool project. This is AR World. So I actually know the founder of this. I want to show you guys this video really quickly. It's like a few minutes. It's 2 minutes actually.
So this is a walkthrough of AR World.
Can you guys hear this?
I've got it working in the phone currently, and you can see there's a map of my immediate area. Down there, we've got an NFT that's ready to be discovered. And I also want to show you this worldscape view. So this will allow you to locate any natural area. So I can click a park, it will direct me to the nearest park, or I can go to a stream or river, and I can basically walk there and it will give me karma points for doing that, and that levels up my character. Right now, we're going to walk down to get the NFT. So we'll just literally walk there. And that's the main point of this game, is it encourages you to actually get outside because it doesn't work inside. So as we get closer, you're going to see we're going to get proximity notification. And here it comes. So the NFT is now within reach. We're going to open up the camera. And there it is. So you click fetch. And then you get a congratulations screen. And then boom, it goes inside of your inventory. And then you can see it. Then that can then be traded on an NFT store, or you can collect it. And there are various different upgrades that it can bring to your character as well. One of the big things about what we're doing with Green Pill is that we're going to encourage regen projects to build inside of this game. So you can imagine planting a tree, you could tokenize that. So we encourage all kinds of volunteer activities. So when you combine activities with an NFT, you put it inside of our game, we think you could do an awful lot with that. So we're really excited to see what we can do with all of the different groups inside of Arbitrum or Green Pill. So yeah, that's a quick overview of what we have, and thanks for listening.
Yeah, so the founder of this project is working on getting litter token, where we pay people to pick up litter, implemented into this like virtual world. But yeah, you can see how like cool use cases of like alternate reality, augmented reality can kind of incentivize like regenerative or climate action. Then you have Google Earth AR VR, which yeah, just allows you to experience Earth and nature through augmented reality and virtual reality. So we're going to deep dive into 3 of these really quickly, and then we'll just open it up. But Litter Token is one of the projects I started. So Litter Token to date has picked up 93,000 pieces of litter across the world. So people pick up litter, they take a picture of each piece that they pick up, they send it to us, and we pay them. So for every 25 pieces of litter, we pay them $1. So if you pick up 250 pieces, you make 10 USD. And you can pick up 250 pieces in an hour pretty quickly. So in places like the US, people don't pick up like I think the economics don't really make sense for people. But in places like Nigeria, in places like the Philippines, like Brazil, $10 an hour is really, really good. I mean, like you're making significantly more than like a government employee at that point. So people are eager to pick up litter, and we've had a lot of success. So Litter Token has been a cool example of how you can use technology to incentivize action. So one, it's gamified. So you're incentivizing people economically to do things that are beneficial for the earth. Not only have we done litter pickups, but we've paid people for like taking a hike or planting a tree. We've also done tokenized payments. I actually think this is the most important part. It's a global reach. So you can send money to anywhere in the world within seconds. You know, you don't have to go to a wire transfer place and pay money for it. There's also faster transactions. They get there in in 30 seconds, the person has the money. There's also data protection. So people don't have to input their bank information, their credit card information. They just have to give like a wallet address and they're paid. It's inclusive because it doesn't matter. You don't need a bank. So in a lot of the global South, people don't even have bank accounts. You can still get paid. All you need is internet connection, and you can make an account and you get paid easily. And finally, microtransactions. So we can pay someone for picking up 2 pieces of litter, right? Like they're going to get maybe, I don't know, 10 cents or something. But Whereas in the past, you don't really pay someone 10 cents because the wire transfer fee is going to be way more than the actual payment, so you don't even do it. But with this, we can pay people for like even the smallest of actions. Blockchain record is immutable payments and recorded tasks. This is really important. So the blockchain, anytime someone makes a payment, it's recorded on like electronically, and it can never be changed. No person, no institution, nobody can change it. So it's like a proof of what happened. And as you know, in the non-blockchain world, this is an issue because people say they received money, people say they spent money on XYZ, and there's no way to verify it. But with this, all transactions are actually publicly verifiable and they cannot be changed by anyone. So it's really cool. And then decisions that you make for the community as well can also be recorded on the blockchain, so you have a record. So it's really good for transparency. And finally, AI, which we're using now, is like someone sends us a picture of 1,000 pieces of litter. It's usually we've like manually counted each piece of litter, but how can you utilize AI to count those litter pieces for you, tell you when there's duplicate pictures, and sort those into categories? So that's what we're doing now. So yeah, I see Candace asked the question, is there an incentive for people who properly dispose of the litter once they pick it up and take the photos? So the follow through after doing the initial action. Yeah, so that's a good question, Candace. We ask people to pick it up and throw it out. Like, and there's no way that we like verify it yet, but we kind of give people the benefit of the doubt. And if they picked it up and they put it in a trash bin, usually they're gonna or a trash bag, usually they're gonna throw it out. Yeah. And people are like really passionate about cleaning up the planet, so we feel like they end up doing it. Okay. This is another one. So AI for trees, we talked about this. So this is so cool. They use LiDAR, so they use lasers, ground-based lasers and air-based lasers to develop 3D models of entire forests. Without them having to go in and take pictures and figure out how the forest look. They can just install lasers and do it in a matter of days. So that's really cool because you get maps of forests, and then they use satellite imagery. So they take photos from space that gives you like forest cover, tells you forest health, biomass that's accumulating or not accumulating, and it can just inform the process. Electronic dendrometers, we talked about, they're these like circle things that you put around the tree and it can measure the growth of the tree. And finally, predictive AI. So you can like scan mangroves and it'll tell you their health. It'll tell you how they're going to grow in different scenarios. And yeah, these AIs are so smart and they're only going to become increasingly smart. So it's like, yeah, we should be using this tool. And I'll tell you, and this actually goes into the next slide. My company, which is the main thing that I work on now, Litter Token is more so kind of like something we do on the side. It's a nonprofit. This company, Alma Earth Group, is a for-profit. And what we're doing is we're doing community as a service. So we're kind of organizing this digital community of people who are interested in climate action and preserving the earth and reversing climate change. They pay $5 a month, whatever they want to pay a month. And then we use code and websites and platforms to kind of unite all these people and get things done. We're also doing AI-powered ecosystem restoration. So we just worked on the Passaic River, one of the most polluted rivers in the country. And there are moments where we went to the Passaic River, we went to the site where we wanted to like remove invasive species and control erosion. And we took pictures of the site and would ask AI like, hey, what are some things we could do to help? And it would tell us some things. It'd be like, okay, plant native plants. It'd be like, okay, well, what native plants? And I'd be like, okay, well, these 5 native plants are actually, you can buy them in Home Depot or you can buy them on Etsy, and they're good for this, this, and this. So AI is getting so smart at image recognition and yeah, just has so much information that we can tap into for helping the environment. So I think it's an underused tool, but one that we're already starting to see a lot of success with. So I'm also happy to help people with that. This actually, I realized I did not update it, but we also are using AI and machine learning more and more. So we're like collecting data, and hopefully we can train some like mangrove maps and stuff. Like you can train. We have an application right now called a mangrove mapping application where it tells you the mangroves that you can see now and where those same mangroves are going to be in a year if climate scenarios don't change. So yeah, some really cool use cases of AI and technology in the space. So those are just a few that I wanted to highlight. So maybe we could pause here and just open up for questions on this part of the presentation in particular. Yeah, Gabrielle?
Hi. So first of all, fantastic. I love a lot of the initiatives that you spoke about in the market vertical section and case studies and whatnot. But from my perspective, particularly from a policy perspective, and we've been looking at the fact that, AI and technology is so incredibly useful, as you were stating correctly, for data collection, monitoring, and just philanthropic efforts in this regard. But I think one of the main things that I'm concerned about, and legal profession is concerned about, and policy and governance is concerned about, is the fact that, LLMs, blockchain, Web3, they consume such odious amounts of electricity, right? And it's almost like it's a great tool to monitor the climate crisis, but it's also a tool that's contributing to the climate crisis in severely large ways. So but I'm pro technology, by the way. I just want to let you know. But I wanted to get your perspective on that. And what do you think about technology tools and the push, or should tech companies and tech projects be pushing for more renewable energy sources? Especially if we're looking at it long term. I think, as I said, they're great for aggregating and collecting the data, but they're also contributing to the climate crisis. So what do you think about that? And
Yeah.
do you think that we should really be pushing for more renewable source energy for these type of tools?
Absolutely. Thank you for bringing that up, Gabrielle. I think that's a huge point. I mean, for all of these, for blockchain, for AI, they do require a lot of energy. Yeah, we should be pushing for it. And the reality is these things are going to grow with or without us. So for us to enter these spaces and to have our own AI, to have kind of a seat at the table, I think is going to be really crucial to push it to be renewable. And because it's definitely possible to power these things with solar and other forms of renewable energy. And I'm sure even the companies that kind of own these data centers and AI and stuff would love that as well, because it's better for their bottom line also. But it takes that upfront investment. It takes the push from the consumers to do it. I will also say that it's not just the blockchain and the AI stuff. Even Google Drive. Google takes a ton of energy. There's so many
Yes.
data centers and
Yes.
like that we don't see. Amazon every time, everything, all of tech is requiring a lot of resources. So yeah, I think it just goes back to the general conversation of energy and where we're getting it from. But yeah, it's a great point, and we should keep it top of mind and push people. And yeah, and the AI can even help us get to, solve that. It can even help you, like, how do I write this email to this AI CEO about, pushing them to do renewable energy, or like, we want to incorporate more renewable energy solutions. How do we do it? So using it as a partner to actually achieve the solutions we want to achieve. So yeah.
Fantastic. Yes. And we agree as well too, because, I love your response, because typically when when I said that's the angle that we work in climate tech, by ensuring and promoting the use of governance for tech solutions in the climate crisis. And that's why I always have to stress I'm pro-tech, right? That's my area. I'm very pro-tech. But it's just that, as you said, it's a symbiotic relationship between accountability and progress when it comes to promoting tech. Yeah, because I'm all things Web3. I definitely will book the consultation, but more so a meeting of minds, because I want to speak to you about, because Crypto Mondays Caribbean is here now. I think there are a lot of things that we can discuss for the future, and really, really partner on. And I said, once again, shout out to Climate Tracker for this incredible webinar, because I can tell you in the education system, the work that you're doing is so important. It's so important. And there's so many Caribbean American students, and also just around the world in SIDS and developing countries who don't have access to this type of knowledge, right? Because education, as I said, just isn't in school, but it's also about understanding the knowledge of what's happening in the world around us. So which is contributing to the lack of policy because they just don't know. And it's sad, right? It's just that's really it. It's not necessary inaction. It's just that they don't know. So definitely going to stay in contact with you and everything. Massive shout out to Climate Tracker. But yes, I'm happy, really happy with your response. And as you said correctly, it's about accountability while driving the positive climate change through tech. So
Yes.
I'll stop now. So other people can have a chance to chat as well. But thank you. Great discussion and great presentation.
Thank
Go
you.
ahead.
I want to say one more thing to that because it reminded me. It's like you look at this map right here, and how many of these companies are Caribbean? You know, or how, and then even further than that, how many of these are owned by people of color? I mean, really, like very, very few. And yeah, I mean, yeah, the truth is tech is extremely extractive. It extracts our data. It's like yeah, the word, you know, some of the worst aspects of capitalism are in the tech industry. It's energy intensive, all these things. But I think part of the reason is because Black people and Indigenous people and people of color, we're not shaping it. So yeah, I'm
Right.
of the belief we should start to help shape it and create our own technology. And there's some people working on this, and yeah, but yeah, it starts with the education. It starts with the tech literacy and kind of spreading the word. So yeah, thank you
For
for
sure.
bringing.
So we'll be in contact after the
Yes,
webinar.
yes,
For sure.
we'll be in
Definitely.
touch.
Definitely.
Any other questions, thoughts?
Thank you so much, Gabrielle, for that very engaging conversation as well. I mean, I think if people also have questions, they can think about it. You can unmute yourself, feel free to unmute yourself or post your question in the chat. In the meantime, Isiah, I think my question is around what you mentioned, you know, that yeah, you don't see the Caribbean in that slide, right? You don't see people of color really leading these but we have so much that's going on, like, you know, locally in the tech industry and as it relates to climate smart um, agriculture and so on, but it's not represented on a global scale, you know. So I would love to know what are the biggest challenges you think facing the adoption and implementation of climate tech in the Caribbean?
Yeah, that's a great question. I think one of them is definitely, I mean, I think the biggest thing from my perspective is like, it feels like technology to a lot of people is just this black box that we don't understand and we don't really like, we just view it very technically, almost like almost how we view like calculus or something like that in school. And we just like, we don't go towards it or we don't try to take ownership of it. And we just kind of leave it to other people. But the truth is it's really, it's not difficult. And it's so like, I always say like even rocket science isn't rocket science. Like everything can be boiled down to like fundamental principles if you just research it and try to understand it and not give in to like the ivory tower over intellectualization of things. Like a lot of the stuff is not that deep. And especially with AI, it's even easier now because you can ask AI for anything. And I think Tiana, the software engineer for Alma Earth Group, is on the call, and she can attest. A lot of the website for Alma Earth Group was coded using AI in a language that I don't even code. That I like I don't know how to code websites, but I would ask AI like, "Hey, how do I code this function in a website?" And it would tell me, and I just implemented it. So I think to answer your question, Tizan, I think one of the big things is like kind of fear of owning the technology. And I think we just gotta like jump into it and have the courage to jump into it and embrace it, even if it's gonna take like some adjustment to start. But I think the other thing is, yeah, education and resources, and it's just not something that our governments and our societies are prioritizing. We're just always like dependent on colonial governments and colonial entities to do things. And I just think, yeah, yeah, maybe controversial, maybe not, but I'm of the belief that we need to be self-sufficient and not rely on anybody, because relying on people has shown that they'll just extract from us. And we're so smart and we have so much ancestral wisdom. Like there's so many things that our ancestors knew so well. I like farming and construction and you name it. And we still have that like common sense, like that grittiness, that resilience, that ability to figure things out. And it can definitely be applied to the digital space as well. Yeah, that would be my answer.
Yeah, I agree with you 100%. So I hope the media people that we have on the call, I hope that this has inspired some stories, because in addition, we don't have stories out about these things, so we need to really start promoting this and telling the climate smart stories about what's happening in agriculture in different Caribbean countries. So I hope that Isiah's presentation has inspired some stories among us. If we don't have any other questions, let me check okay, so Gary has asked a question, Isiah. Gary is curious about the use of satellite imagery. What was the program you mentioned and how easy it is to access?
Yeah, that's a good question, Gary. The program, a few of them use satellite imagery. So this Nature Conservancy project uses it. AI for Trees uses it. I need to learn more. I need to learn more about it. But yeah, I imagine of the things we mentioned, that's like the least accessible, because like satellites are expensive. I imagine what they do is they probably pay people who own satellites for the data. Maybe they send up their own satellites, but that's really expensive. But yeah, I can do more research on this. But yeah, my understanding is it's not very accessible.
Okay.
But yeah, Gary, I can get back to you. I actually have a friend who's doing like some satellite stuff, so I should ask him how accessible it was for him.
Yeah. Awesome. Okay, so maybe Isiah, if you like, you can probably put your contact information in the chat as well. You have it on this, yeah, on the slide as well. So guys, you can feel free to reach out directly to Isiah for any further information, consultations. He's also offering a free 30-minute tech consultation. So if I were you, I would definitely take him up on that offer. So thank you so much, Isiah, for coming here and for chatting with us and for teaching us all of this information about what's going on and the different projects, the amazing projects that you have going on. I want to encourage all of you as well to check us out on social media, on our different platforms. I've just posted the links there for you. It's a lot of links, but you can check them out. So make sure that you stay in touch with us and our community. And yeah, Isiah, is there anything that you'd like to say to end off, or?
Yeah, thank you to Climate Tracker again. Thank you guys for sitting through this and giving the time of your precious time to this presentation. I hope it was helpful. And yeah, feel free to follow us on Instagram, whatever it is, and schedule a consultation with us. We're happy to help and continue with this movement of tech in the climate space.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Isiah. And thank you everyone for giving us your time this morning, and have a great rest of the day, and please enjoy the rest of your week as well. Bye.
Bye.